What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of All Things Super. I am one of your hosts, Spider, and I am joined by Mr. VIP Frankie Washington. How are you doing today, sir?
I am infinitely awesome. Thank you for asking. You seen the jazz hands that I got? Not to be confused with spirit fingers. Jazz hands.
Succinctly different things.
Two totally different things. There it is. How are you, sir?
I'm doing wonderful. It's a great Tuesday evening. We got a cold front coming down in New Orleans, and I'm loving it.
Don't say that. We can get sued.
Sued by who? Mother Nature?
Oh, no. I was talking about the other part. The part.
Oh. See, I didn't do the ba-da-ba-ba-ba part, so it's...
we get sued.
If you don't say it all together, I think they trademarked the whole entire phrase. So if you break it down into pieces, then it's not infringement.
Call Matt Murdock and let's see if we can find out what the answer is about that.
Whoa.
Oh, I'm sorry. He's unavailable because he's at a goddamn picnic. Okay, no, I'm sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself.
Let the man have his barbecue. But if you didn't know, this is All Things Super, where every week we take a piece of superpower, TV, movie, even trailers. We watch them, we review them, we break them down, we react to them, and we answer the question, is it super?
Is it?
Is it? But
might not be.
If you like that, you can subscribe to the channel. You can find us on all your major podcast streaming platforms if you want the audio version. And if you want to join in on the conversation, you can tweet at us at ATSuperPod.
And we like reading the comments.
There you go.
So we like reading the comments.
But if you are familiar with the show, if you see this, what's going on right here on my screen, audio listeners, if you don't know, you need to watch the video. But for our video watchers, what's going on? When the lights turn green, that means it's a She-Hulk episode. No, yeah, that means it's a She-Hulk episode.
I mean, the jealousy has hit his pinnacle. And
I am jealous of no man.
This is a woman show. Where is this energy coming from?
That's why I said no man. I didn't say anything about the women. I'm hella jealous of She-Hulk.
Damn. So you want a little Matt Murdock too, huh?
Look, what I want to do is my business.
Hello. Welcome to the show.
Well, yes, we're talking about She-Hulk, the season finale. We got episode 9. She-Hulk season 1 is over. And of course, as with every episode of She-Hulk this season, there has been controversy.
Controversy? Man.
But let's talk about it. She-Hulk episode 9, what'd you think about it?
Listen.
Oh,
this show.
We get into everything.
Well, I wasn't gonna do it. I was actually gonna talk about it without spoiling it. So
I apologize for interrupting.
I'm trying to be better. As best as I can be.
I forgot who that was. I'm trying to do better. I will be better. I don't know. I feel like there's so many people that make that statement. Yeah, Hancock. That's who it was. I know it was some superhero. I couldn't remember who it was.
The irony is that Will Smith made that apology video, and I was looking for him to say that in there. I was like, come on, Will. Come on, say it. I'm trying to be better. I
can be better. I will be better.
I just threw the microphone like he threw the little cards. Like, yeah. It was iconic. I'm sorry. He's got two icons, and, hey, man, we got to move on. That was old news now.
Now we're talking about She-Hulk.
Still trending. Yeah, but the idea is this. She-Hulk is over. And listen, for those who haven't seen She-Hulk, Disney dramatic with it. Disney Plus, you should watch it. You should honestly watch it. I think it's a good time. I think it's a fun show. I think it took the opportunity to go in some directions that you may not have been expecting. Now, Spider, with that being said, I did the best I can, man. That's all I can give you without spoiling it because we about to get into this thing, baby. Let's go. What'd you think about episode 9? Not 6, 9. 6, 9. Disney usually do 6 episodes, so they gave you 9. So it's gotta be super because they gave you 9, right? Right?
Yeah. I mean, the thing about it is
sure. Stay tuned.
The first thing that I want to touch on is one of the things that we mentioned as we went throughout the season, because of the number of episodes and this habit that Disney Plus falls in with their shows of having these shorter mini series, because a full season of a show is like 20 something episodes, so we get in 6 episodes, 8 episodes, and so for these mini
and don't forget your special presentation that had one half of a movie episode where by night thing.
But so we were concerned that She-Hulk was going to basically do what all of the other Disney Plus shows did and then run out of time and then have to cram everything into the very last episode. And in a sense they did, but it's like they did it on purpose.
If doing it on purpose and everyone expecting you to do it, does that mean that it's supposed to be good because you did what we knew you were going to do since you did it on purpose?
So I think at least, okay, so here's my take on it. I enjoyed the episode. I thought it was very fun. I thought it was innovative. I thought it was different. There were problems with the episode. There were problems. I understand the direction that they were going in and what they were trying to do. But in the midst of doing that, they still left a lot of glaring plot holes and some disconnects in the episode. As far as the worry of them rushing to find a solution to everything, like I said, they did it, but they did it in a way that was expected and then immediately undid it. But at the end, they still resolved everything without really giving us an answer. And I know I'm not making any sense for anybody who hasn't seen it. Because basically what they did, and like we already hit the spoiler warning, so what they did, they wrapped everything up. Jen loses her job. We start out, Jen's in jail. First of all, we start off with the classic rendition of the 1970s, The Incredible Hulk.
So awesome. That was awesome. That was nice.
Introduction scene, which was amazing. And I know people were like, well, if we had this, because they had a woman who's standing as She-Hulk like they did with the original show, and they had Lou Ferrigno as Hulk. And I know there are some people who are like, well, if we had this woman who could be the Hulk, why we didn't have her in the show? And it's like, it's Disney
They're
Plus.
Paying homage to the old show.
Right.
Who didn't get that?
A lot of people.
Did you call them lame? Did you call them lame-os?
I don't think I've ever used that word.
New official word on all things super lame-os. You're lame-os. It's not a new word, but
it's not a new word, but it'll be new for us. But
lames, lameses. Ooh. I feel like it's a little bit of Lord of the Rings and a little bit of lameses.
Now you're all over the place.
Of course. Welcome to the show.
Jen wakes up. She's in jail. Like I said, as I mentioned yesterday, I called it. She got arrested, and they were going to find a way to get out of jail.
Now, wait a minute. We can't just skate past this. Why is the Department of Damage Control just out here arresting? What are we classifying Jen as? She's not a mutant. She's not a superhero. She's not an official superhero.
She's an enhanced individual, a superpowered individual.
Okay, I can work with that. She's not a lameses. No, I'm still working on it. Okay, so
doesn't sound right.
Well, why are they out here just arrested enhance individuals. Who called them? Oh yeah, we did say there was the
Intelligentsia.
Intelligentsia. I don't know why I was about to say Balenciaga. I have no idea what that's about.
You are on something else tonight.
Christmas is coming.
I don't know what you got in that cup. But so
Balenciaga juice.
Oh my God. Jen's in the same cell that Blonsky was in. Mallory, Nikki, and Pug, they come in. They're like, listen, you know, we're here to support you. We need to talk about your case. The only thing that Jen wants to talk about is how the hell the intelligentsia got all their information and who leaked out the tape. But they're like, we need to focus on... Exactly. And they're basically saying, Mallory's saying, we need to focus on you. You're what's important right now because the whole world is labeling you a monster, which is what Bruce told her in the first episode. Once they see you as a monster, that never goes away. So they tell her that there's a plea deal. If Jen agrees to wear an inhibitor, never turn into She-Hulk again, she can get out of jail. They'll let her out because I guess society deems that as long as you wear an inhibitor, you're not a threat to society. So problem solved. Done. Jen gets out, and of course, her, I guess, contract clause with GLK&H was that she has to be She-Hulk for work. She's representing the face of the firm as the lead attorney for the superhero law division. She can't do that because she can't turn into She-Hulk, so she loses her job. She loses her job. She can't afford to live in an apartment.
Now, here's the thing. Mm-hmm. As the law company that I work for, well, She-Hulk works for, I don't work for a law company today.
I told you you're all over the place.
Today. So you would think that they would side with Jen and say, you know, this is unfortunate what happened to you. Let's get to the bottom of this. Let's put a little resources on it. Nope. You know, loyalty, stand behind your girl and rile up the troops. And
why would they? Because you think about it, it goes back to the second episode. You know, she turned into She-Hulk. She saves people in the courtroom. She gets fired because she's considered a liability.
But you brought her on because she was She-Hulk.
But now she can't be She-Hulk. So why keep her around? Exactly what you said. They brought her on because she was She-Hulk. They didn't bring her on because she's a great attorney. Because if they brought her on because she's a great attorney, that's not going to change. She still has the knowledge and everything. She still has the skill. So if they brought her on specifically for her skill as an attorney, then yeah, they would have kept her. They would have been like, you know what, this is horrible. What happened to you, we'll figure it out. But they brought her on.
I'm happy Jen's gone. I'm happy she's gone because they're trying to puppet that girl around and just have her up there just because she's She-Hulk. That ain't right. She should be able to stand on her own merits. She's a phenomenal attorney that got one loss in her record from the cheating Matt Murdock.
Wow, you still salty about that?
Not salty, but I'm seasoned. Well seasoned.
So Jen ends up moving back in with her parents. Paparazzi is still hounding her, trying to figure out, you know, what's going on, as paparazzi does. But as she's staying with her parents, Nikki's popping over there trying to figure out exactly what's going on, who Intelligentsia is. Nikki, and as they're trying to figure out, they got this whole red web thing going on with the strings and different plot points on the cork board, trying to figure out who the Intelligentsia is.
Deadpool vibes.
Yeah.
Looking for Francis.
Right. So they're trying to figure out who the Hulk King is, how they got all of Jen's information, you know, what part Josh had to play in all of this and everything. And so Nikki says something. Nikki is talking about like going after him and like fucking busting skulls. Nikki's ready to throw down.
That's what I'm talking about. Nikki's from the streets.
Nikki is from the streets. Nikki's a thug. But in the midst of all of this, Nikki is, you know, sharing videos of Jen while she was in college with Jen's mom. You know, much to the chagrin of Jen. But that's what moms do. They share embarrassing videos of you with your friends.
Of course.
And so Nikki sees this as an opportunity. I have this embarrassing video of Jen when she was in college. I'm going to put this on the Intelligentsia site, posing as a She-Hulk hater in hopes to gain more insight into who these people are. And just like Nikki said, it worked. Am I a genius? And Nikki kind of is a genius, or they're just that willing. The Hulk King was that willing to hate on She-Hulk that he's ready to accept anybody who can get that type of information. But Hulk King messages Nikki on the intelligentsia site, and of course it's all anonymous, and so he invites Nikki to this rally that they're having, and he says, "See you there, bro." And so Nikki realizes, shit, they're expecting a guy. So Nikki enlists the help of Pug, because that's literally the only decent guy that's in the show at this point. I mean, you think about it, other than Matt Murdock and Bruce and maybe and Jen's dad, it's like all of the and Pug, like all of the other guys who have been in the show have kind of been assholes, pieces of shit,
Hey, don't you talk about Wong like that.
And Wong, I'm sorry. And Wong.
There you go.
Wong is, yeah, Wong, you're right.
Wong is a fugitive. Let's just go ahead and we'll get into why later, but let's just say Wong is at the run. I've never seen a Sorcerer Supreme commit so many crimes.
And Wong is on the FBI watch list. But
this dude don't care.
So Jen is struggling to sleep. She's kind of doesn't know what to do with herself, so she's like, maybe I just need to go see Blonsky, because he's had to deal with this. He's probably the only one who can relate to exactly what I'm going through.
She first reached out to Bruce, but we have to remember that Bruce is off planet.
Right.
So,
but I don't think that he ever told her that he was going off planet. So I think that might be why she's been trying to reach out to him through all of this.
He did say I'll be gone for a long time, but he did not.
We didn't say where he was
going. Us as the audience, we knew where he was going because we could see him, but he didn't say it on the phone, no.
Yeah, and I think because the last time she talked to him was when she was trying to decide whether or not she was going to represent Blonsky, and that's when Bruce basically told her, like, yeah, he wrote me haikus, we buried the whole thing, a long time ago. So you calling me to tell me about it makes me, it's like you've already made up your mind. And she's like, yep, already made up my mind. And, and then they got disconnected after that. Either they got disconnected or she hung up or whatever.
Ain't that crazy? You can forgive a guy that's trying to kill you with poetry?
I mean, you think that just shows how much of a different headspace Bruce is in his life. Like he's and I mean, you think about it, that was a long time. The Incredible Hulk happened canonically in like 2008, 2009, something like that. And here we are in She-Hulk 2024. So you're looking at,
I mean, he was literally a different person.
Right. So. He was literally a different person. So yeah, he's had a lot of time to grow. So
and change.
He'd grow and then kind of shrink back down a little bit. Just love when Valkyrie saw him in Endgame. When in Endgame, she's like, I like you better both either way. I like you better either of the other ways.
Other way, right? That's crazy. This is what it is now. Crazy. But, so we lost our job.
Right.
We still got Intelligentsia Valenciaga stalking us and doing all kind of obscene things. I'm arrested on parole. I can't be She-Hulk anymore. This is a downward turn for the hero of any Disney Plus Marvel show.
Right.
This is not something that we get into on the season finale. This is something that this is mid-season lows. Like, what is going on? And it takes us on this journey. Go ahead, Spider. I don't want to interrupt you, but you know how I jump double dutch.
So Jen goes to see Blonsky, goes to his retreat. Blonsky's not answering her calls either. So she is greeted by Wrecker. So Wrecker brings her in, say, hey, glad to have you. Appreciate, understand that you need that time away. I'll set you up with a room. Sets her up with a room.
Wait a minute. Wrecker is a part of the Wrecking Crew. He is a villain in the comics. He has a. Is he just a good guy now? Is that what we're going with? He's no longer.
I don't think he's part of the Wrecking Crew anymore, because the Wrecking Crew was even at the Intelligentsia rally. They were sitting in the back, and he wasn't a part of it, because he was sitting there drinking tea. He missing the chicken blood in the tea. Like we were kind of skeptical when Jen went to the retreat the first time, and he was saying that, he was a part of the people who attacked her, and he was saying that he wasn't, doing that anymore. We were skeptical about it, thinking that he was just trying to lure her in, but it just seems like he's really, not about that anymore, and it looks like he's moved on from
it. Everybody needs a second chance, Sometimes you make mistakes. Look at the guy that was selling weapons to the Prowler in Spider-Man Homecoming.
True.
Wait a minute, I think that guy died. I think that guy died. Not Donald Glover, the other guy. No,
yeah, they got when Peter caught him outside, like under the bridge or whatever. You talking about the original Shocker?
He was the one that was selling the guns, right?
Yeah, he did die. Yeah, he absolutely died. Vulture killed him. Vulture turned him into dust.
No second chance for him.
Well, he threatened the man's family, so.
Well, the other guy's a Shocker now.
So he's kind of asking for it. But so Jen is still kind of trying to figure out everything that's going on, and she's talking to Wrecker, and Wrecker's trying to help her through her problem. She's like, you know what, honestly, I need to talk to Blonsky, because I really feel like he's the only one that can relate to me on this. Well, where is he? Wrecker's like, well, he's over in like the reception hall or whatever. There's some private event going on. So Jen goes to see where Blonsky is. While Jen's going over there, we see Nikki and Pug pull up, and immediately when they pull up, I was like, they're, because they're talking about, oh, we're all the way out in the middle of nowhere, we don't really have that great reception, and shout out to Pug, because Pug was trying his best. Pug didn't want to be there. Pug didn't want any part of this, and we could see that it hurt him to his core. But so Pug's got his earbuds in. He's walking in. Nikki's feeding him lines.
Hilarious joke. It's like, wouldn't they notice me walking around with this earbud in? And she's like, you're going to fit in with all the rest of these.
You are not going to be the only one.
Quick little joke. It was good, though.
Yeah. So Pug goes in. He's pretending to be one of them, one of the members of the Intelligentsia. He's, just walking to them, just like, women. Am I right? And of course they're like, yeah, women. Oh yeah, you know what I'm talking about. And they just proceed to just shit on She-Hulk. Nikki's feeding him lines, trying to get him to get more information out of all of them, try to figure out who the Hulk King is. And as that's going on, we see Todd. Todd turns around, recognizes Pug, because of course Todd is one of the GLK&H bigwigs. He's like one of their top clients.
Yeah.
So of course he knows. So of course he knows who Pug is. And Pug sees him. He's like, "It's Todd." And so Nikki's like, "I knew his ass would have been there." So they get more information out of him. Todd is basically like, yeah, and just tries to get Pug to admit that Jen or She-Hulk is sleeping with Holloway, and that's the only reason that she got the job. And one of the things Todd says about Pug, he's like, yeah, he works with She-Hulk, and it's like he's one of the greatest lawyers, and he's hot too. And Pug's looking at him like, wait, what?
What? You just go slide that in now. Just go ahead. This dude was wild.
So he's trying to insinuate all of the stuff that Jen did as She-Hulk because she didn't earn her powers. She was given it. It was given to her. She didn't deserve them.
Given by blood.
Why do we need a She-Hulk? Why do we always have to have a woman hero? All that kind of stuff. Basically, all of the stuff that people have been saying on the internet since this show came out. And so He was like, yeah. So
clearly, they don't know that there's a She-Hulk in the comics that have been killing it since way back when.
Right. And
like, where's all this energy coming from?
It's coming from just assholes with toxic masculinity who think that any time that a woman comes to prominence, that means it's detracting from something that a man did, which it doesn't.
Maybe they're what's the word I want to say? Lame-o. Lame-o-inskis. I'm working on it. Lame, you go ahead, Slide. I'm gonna keep working on it.
Keep at it. So he's trying to pull all this stuff out of Pug. He's like, yeah, she slept with Holloway, didn't she? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, yeah, and it pissed you off, didn't it? And he's like, no, but it didn't happen. But yeah, it pissed me off. And so that roused everybody up. Todd takes the stage and, starts going in on She-Hulk, and he introduces Blonsky. Blonsky is the guest speaker, and
he comes out
as the Abomination.
The Abomination.
Which is something that he wasn't supposed to be doing.
Clearly violates his parole.
Right. And so it really, the way it was framed, it did not seem like he knew what that rally was for, because he spoke to them in such a broad and general sense. He's like, well, Todd tells me that you all feel, depowered. Do you feel weak? And it's like, I'm here to like boost you up. It's like he's really giving them like a self-help, like a motivational speech. But it wasn't anything specifically aimed at She-Hulk.
For She-Hulk. Right.
So you would think that Blonsky, even though it was framed like, oh, is he part of the intelligentsia? Is he like the one that kind of helped them like synthesize any of the blood and all this other kind of stuff? But he was really there to just make some money. He was trying to cash grab. He was like doing
which he did say.
Abomination. He said it was just about the money.
Strictly for profit. This is the only reason I'm over here to get a bag. I'm trying to get this bag. These retreats gotta pay. You gotta pay the fertilizer and landscaping and stuff.
Somebody gotta pay for all this chicken feed.
The record drinking chicken blood, so goddamn. Somebody gotta keep that blood going.
Right. And so Jen walks in, sees Abomination, is like, what the hell is going on? And so she see all of these men just like, all screaming and shouting and everything. So
testosterone flowing,
is just
sexism in the air and just chauvinistic energy.
Just total chauvinistic energy. So she pulls Blonsky aside. She's like, what are you doing? You're not, I vouched for you. You said that you weren't turning an Abomination. He's like, just trying to get some money and all this other kind of stuff. Todd sees her, starts going in. It's like, oh, it's She-Hulk, everybody. And, of course they start booing her and all this other kind of stuff. So he goes in, I made the intelligentsia. I am Hulk King. I paid Josh to get your blood. And Jen's like, got my blood? What? Comes out with the syringe, injects himself, turns into Todd Hulk. I don't know what that was supposed to be.
Let's call him Todd Hole. Let's call him
He'll keep turning
little green top turd. Lame-o Todd. The CGI on Todd looks incredibly bad. I think that was a conscious choice.
Yeah, I really do think that they did it on purpose, because I saw a lot of comparisons to the Scrappy-Doo transformation in the Scooby-Doo movie. Which they're not wrong. It really did feel like that, because it was like his arm got big and then he lost control of it. Then he got like big, but his head got smaller. And so it was like, it wasn't a proportional thing. It was.
I want some more of that.
But it was like,
no, listen. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, like, he got big, but he didn't get big enough to like rip out of his clothes. So it just like I don't know, he just stretched it out a little bit.
Spandex. Listen, with all that being said, as wacky as it sounds, we're still in the story.
Right.
We're still in the plot. These are the plots. This is where the natural progression would have gone with the story, because we did see Josh get She-Hulk's blood.
Well, we didn't see him get her blood. We just saw him take a picture of her, and he texted that he got the blood.
Well,
which I still don't know. I still don't know how he did. You can't just extract somebody's blood without them knowing. So I don't know.
Exactly. I don't care how drunk you are. That's an experiment right there. You would have to be completely passed out. And there was no drinking involved. It was consensual adult activities.
Well, we can't say that there was no drinking involved, because we don't know if she got drunk. Because, I mean, they went on a date. I'm not saying that he drugged her, or maybe he did drug her. I don't know, and we just didn't see it.
Kevin Feige, are we drugging women now? Is that what's going on in the MCU?
I hope not. I really hope.
You hope so? You hope so?
I said hope not. Do not put those words in my. No, do not misquote me on that. I am not about to get. No, nobody's about to clip anything about this out of context. Hell no. No, absolutely not.
But that's the case. My career is over before it even began. I don't know. I done said some things.
But like you said, this is all part of the story. And this is like you said, this is a progression of events, and this is what it's all led up to.
As wacky as it is, I'm okay with it, because it makes sense in the context of the story. I mean, he was fascinated with her since he went on a date with her. So the foreshadowing was there. We laid the seeds. It makes sense. You have somebody who had blood go into her womb and became this incredible person, incredible powers. They can do incredible things. Who doesn't want that for themselves?
Right.
So now, since you have oodles and oodles of money, you just need a method and a means to extract this blood. And you're thinking to yourself, well, hell, if I get it in my blood, I'll be tied, whatever.
Just call him turd. Yeah. Just turd.
There you go. A nice green turd. There you go. He kind of resembled a turd too. So, but the storyline, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, here's where it kind of went off the rails for me.
Kind of.
Well, I'm gonna say this, and I want to say this, and I was thinking about this before we did the show. Everything they did was amazing. Don't get me wrong. They stayed true to the character of She-Hulk to the best of their ability. They brought it into the modern time. She used to tear the pages off of her comic book panels and talk to the editors because she didn't like the way her storyline was going. Remember, this is way before Deadpool was breaking the fourth wall. Right. And he never really got it to like that, to a point that somebody can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, that he just started addressing the editors. I mean, everybody that breaks the fourth wall somehow knows that they're in some type of simulation or in another world. Bugs Bunny do it too, so don't think that, Marvel got exclusivity on fourth wall breaks. But we're still in the character of She-Hulk. It's true to the comics. They did nothing wrong. Right. And I want to make sure I say that, so anybody that's saying, well, they had a vision and they stuck to it. But to me, I'm just saying for myself, it was kind of disjarring when she started addressing the audience and asking, is this what you guys want? Is this ending working for y'all? And to kind of take things into her own hands when then she pops out of the Disney page to the Marvel symbol page to go talk to Kevin.
But before
she don't know she's talking to Kevin at that point.
Yeah, but before we got there, we sort of we're skipping over what else happened as to why she had to question, is this what the people want? Because once Todd changes into turd, everything just starts to fall apart, because Turd goes after Jen Blonsky picks up Jen so he can try to protect her. Again, showing that he's not a part of the intelligentsia. He doesn't want to hurt Jen. He doesn't want to see her hurt. So he's protecting her. All of a sudden, Bruce drops in from the sky. He sees Abomination out of nowhere, out of literally nowhere. He just got back. So we don't know how long he's been back. He just here.
100%. Like he wouldn't even know where she is.
Exactly. Like there's no way that he would have known where she was, that she was in trouble, that he needed to drop in. So he drops in, sees Blonsky has Jen in his hands. He's like, "Get your hands off my cousin." They start to fight. Blonsky is trying to tell him, like, "This is not. It's not what you think it is. It's not what it looks like. I'm trying to help her." Bruce doesn't want to listen, which is completely deviated away from all of the, the
character that he's established,
right? The character that he's built himself to be as somebody who's more rational than Hulk, who doesn't just jump in and fight, anger first. So
not fight, smash.
And so they start fighting. Titania shows up out of nowhere.
Did you see? Wait, you see the difference on Abomination and Professor Hulk?
Yeah, the size difference.
Oh my God! You're talking about two guys that went toe to toe in a other Hulk movie where we had the first version of Abomination, and then we had the Hulk. They're like massive.
Yeah.
Now little Hulk is like, oh, Professor Hulk, so smart. Like, I didn't think that there would be that big of a contrast,
right,
compared to each other. I don't think he would have made it. To be honest, Blonsky was really mad. I think he might have would have won that fight.
I think if Blonsky would have been truly rageful and been trying to kill Bruce, then he might have been outmatched. He might have been outmatched. I don't know, because we've never really seen Hulk outside of the Incredible Hulk. When the last time those two fought, we haven't really seen Smart Hulk fight, because we've seen
you seen him charge in, but you didn't see him fight.
We've seen seen Bruce, we've seen Avengers, we've seen Bruce fight the Chitauri, we've seen Bruce go up against or we've seen Hulk fight the Chitauri, we've seen Hulk go up against Hulkbuster, we've seen Hulk go up against these bigger creatures, but it's like Hulk lost to Iron Man. Hulk lost to the Wolf and Ragnarok. Hulk lost to Thor. The only reason that Hulk beat Thor because Grandmaster shocked him. So
are you saying Hulk's out here taking L's?
I think Hulk is out here taking L's.
You saying Hulk, the Incredible Hulk, is out here taking L's?
Yeah, it really does seem like the way they've been framing it, Hulk is out here taking L's.
They can't spell life without L's.
That's true. But Hulk drops in. He and Abomination start fighting. Titania shows up out of nowhere. Why the fuck is she here?
How did she know where to go? And shout out to that grill. Rob the
jeweler store and make me a grill.
Hey. I'm not lowering up again.
Oh my God. But I like what Nikki said, because Titania bust through the wall, and Nikki's like, "Does this bitch ever use a door?"
Hilarious. Nikki from the streets. Nikki got the one-liners. Because I was thinking the same exact thing. I was like, "Damn, she never had a door she liked."
Right? Why are you busting through the walls? For what reason? But
like Spider said, she had no purpose of being there.
Absolutely none. So everything is going off the rails. It's absolute chaos. It's pandemonium. Everything's getting destroyed, and there's no cohesiveness in it. There's no reasoning behind it. Up until we got Todd transforming, that's where our storyline ended, because everything else after that was just like, we need to have a big fight, because this is the season finale, so it's got to end in a big fight. And so Jen stops down and again breaks the fourth wall, like you said, and addresses the audience like, "Is this what you wanted? You wanted a big fight, but the way we get a big
wanted
fight,
20 episodes." That's what we wanted. If I can answer you, Jen. But apparently that's not what Kevin wanted.
Right. And so she's so put off by all of this. It's like it's so cataclysmic. It crashes the show. The show crashes. It's like if you blue screen, crash, go back to the dashboard. Now we're on the Disney Plus dashboard for the Marvel page. And Jen breaks out of her show. She swings down into Marvel Assembled because she knows that this is where she could go to get to behind the scenes. She's not jumping into somebody else's show. She's jumping
going into Iron Man.
Right. She not going into Loki. Moon Knight. Didn't go into Shang-Chi.
That would have been nice if she went into Loki.
That would have been interesting. But but so she jumps into Marvel Assembled. She's in the Disney Burbank lot. She's getting in the backstage. Fun fact, I saw in one of the breakdowns, when she got to the receptionist desk and she was signing the NDA, that was the actual receptionist that they have working at Marvel Studios.
Oh, that's awesome.
So that guy is...
He's in the MCU now.
So,
he's in the MCU now.
He's canon in the MCU. And so when people go to Marvel Studios and they have to sign NDAs, that's the person that they would see.
Here's a question for you.
What's up?
Is that NDA the same NDA?
Probably.
So somebody stops it, slows it down, and reads it. It's like, damn.
Possibly.
Real good legal jargon.
It could be. So she signs the NDA and they try to detain her anyway because they're like, you're not supposed to be here. So she's like, why would you have me sign the NDA if you're not going to let me through? And so
everybody signs the NDA. It's like Baskin Robbins always knows.
Baskin Robbins always knows.
Always.
And so Jen has her little fight scene going into that back hallway, kind of reminiscent of Black Widow and Iron Man 2, taking out security, knocking them out. Those guys didn't deserve that. I mean, they were just trying to do their job.
Should have called off that day. Should have called in. I'm feeling green around the gills. I'm not coming in.
But I mean, you go into work, you don't expect a fictional character to just show up in the hallways and take everybody out. That's the last thing that you expect to happen at work. I know, right?
I would have been thirsty. I would have been thirsty. I'd been like, oh, She-Hulk. Can you sign my All Things Super shirt?
But so She-Hulk breaks into the writer's room where they're discussing the final episode of She-Hulk. And so she gets into an argument with them like, hey, what the hell are you guys doing? Like, what are you doing in my show? Why is, all of this going on? And they basically explain to her, like, this is what Kevin wanted. And this is what Kevin wanted. Kevin says we have to have a big fight. Kevin says that we have to have an explosive ending and all this other kind of stuff. And so She-Hulk's like, well, I don't agree with this. I want to go talk to Kevin. And they start laughing at him. Nobody talks to Kevin. You think you're going to go walk in and talk to Kevin? One guy says, I would literally kill you before letting you talk to Kevin. I would murder you. It's like, you talking to She-Hulk. Not only are you talking to She-Hulk, you are in a sense of this is reality. You're in the normal world. She-Hulk should not exist in the normal world. She is outside of the MCU. And you're talking about you would murder her? That is the level of devotion that these writers have to Kevin. Like, I will murder your fictional ass. I don't care what powers you have.
Oh, get an eraser and take you out. Just erase the shit out of you in reality.
So they're doing a whole lot of meta commentary about the state of Disney Plus shows.
Of course, because they're talking about Kevin Feige.
Yeah. So I think that after this is when Jen has the hallway fight, when she's getting into Kevin's room. So she breaks into the central area. I don't think they really had a name for it. But so She-Hulk finally sees Kevin. Kevin is a robot.
Let's not downplay Kevin. He's an extremely
highly intelligent. He's a highly sophisticated AI.
There you go.
As we saw, they had stacks of comic books all around the room, and he's consuming the knowledge of all of the comic book characters and creating the MCU. So we see on the screens.
Thanks, Kevin.
Very kind of like Minority Report almost. He got all the different screens, all different, MCU properties and stuff like that. I think Black Panther was up there, Iron Man, Thor, all of the big names, of course. No Spider-Man.
The ones that matter.
Wow. What? I was saying no Spider-Man because of the Sony agreement.
Exactly. He would have been there.
Yeah.
He's the web holding them all together. Okay.
So She-Hulk gets into a conversation with Kevin, trying to figure out what's going on. And of course, again, the meta commentary, he's like, well, before we have a conversation, I need you to turn back to Jen. I'm not going to talk to you unless you're Jen, but I need you to transform off camera. And she's like, why? He's like, because you're very expensive.
So true. That's meta. It's real. It's like, do it now. The camera's on me.
He said that I need you to transform back into Jen. And she said, why? And he said, because you're very expensive. And he said, but I need you to transform off camera. The VFX artists have already moved on to another project. And when he said that they moved on to another project, we hear of the Black Panther. So it's like, oh, VFX team working on Wakanda Forever. So they ain't here to, do your little transformation thing.
Which is also meta, because for anyone who's seen the first Black Panther, we know the final fight, it was very dark. The CGI wasn't as good as it was throughout the whole movie. Small little warning for anybody who hasn't seen one of the best movies in Marvel Cinematic History movie. But they ain't there. They're working on Wakanda Forever.
So we get
I thought that was a cool little shout out.
Yeah, that was definitely a cool little nod. But so we get, and we've seen that they've been doing this, of course, throughout the show, because when Daredevil introduced himself, he was like, I'm Daredevil. And they had Daredevil's Netflix theme playing as he said that. So these musical cues, they did it when in Ms. Marvel, when Bruno was telling Kamala that she was a mutant. Or she has DNA. Yeah, and they had
a little Whitney Houston. I'm your baby tonight. I always thought that was the same song, and I challenge anybody. I would die on that hill. It just that da na 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 na.
No, it's da na na na. It's because I was going back to the Vanilla Ice thing. So X-Men is da na 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 da na 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 na. So Whitney Houston is yeah. X-Men is da-na-na-na-na. It's the extra notes. It's the extra notes.
You got it.
It's not the same thing.
It's not the same, but it is.
It is close. I never made that connection, but you are right. It is damn close.
Hey, that's why I'm here, baby, to make those connections.
But so we get this very passionate monologue from Jen, and shout out to Tatiana Maslany, because she's doing absolutely phenomenal things throughout this show.
Man, you pronounce that name like you know her personally.
I wish I did. She seems like a fabulous person to hang out with. I would love to know her personally, be friends with her.
Hit up on Instagram.
I will try. Because look, if I could get in with Tatiana Maslany, then maybe I get in, introduce you to Megan Thee Stallion.
Was She-Hulk?
I was saying Megan Thee Stallion, but so, I'm trying to get you in that too.
Megan on a vacation right now too, but Megan's smoking for, so not to mention something. But the point is,
I'm not trying to get you to hook up. I'm just like, go hang out, have a drink, just chill, be friends.
That's how things happen. That's how you end up getting your blood taken. and pictures of you on the internet while you're sleeping. You know
what? You're not wrong.
I bet you Josh got pictures of her toes too, because goddamn it, he seemed like one of those guys, just like
yeah. You're probably right. You're probably right. But so we get this very passionate speech about Jen telling her story as to why she felt like all of this extra stuff that's happening is wrong, because this is not what the show had been building towards. Yes, we were trying to get a resolution.
The show was building towards,
but not in a sense to where Hulk comes in, Titania comes in, and they have the knockdown, drag out fight in the end.
Remember we talked about this, Slider? We said there's no possible way that they're going to be able to squeeze all this stuff into one episode or two episodes. And that's where the meta commentary kind of plays into it, because they knew they couldn't squeeze it all in either. Right. So what you were saying exactly is true. What they did was squeeze it all in purposely and show you it don't fit. Right. It doesn't fit. It can't do it. This is the best way to do it, to give you conclusions on all of these storylines.
Right. And so Jen ends up convincing Kevin to allow her to tell her own story, because She-Hulk, at the end of the day, as she said, She-Hulk is her show. It's about her story. It's about her struggles. It's about her coming to terms with her, identity crisis in between being She-Hulk and being Jen, and being able to accept herself. These are about her stakes. Like we've been saying, especially you, Mr. VIP Frank Washington, as you've been saying all season, I don't want to see Skybeam. I don't need the entire city of, entire state of California to fall into a crisis and then have She-Hulk to save it in the end, because that's not the type of hero that she is right now. That's not her origin story that we're getting into. We're dealing with She-Hulk on a personal level. Like, we have superheroes, we have these big spectacles, they're saving the world, they're saving the planet, they're saving the country. Then we have, the street level superheroes like Daredevil, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, where they're dealing with their big villains, but She-Hulk is
still street level,
right? And She-Hulk is even further removed from that, because she's not fighting a villain per se. She's fighting her own internal struggles. So this is sort of a journey of self-realization, and Jen is saying that the show needs to focus on that. So she convinces Kevin to modify, to basically retcon everything. She's like, the whole blood thing, we know that the blood thing didn't make sense, and so take that out. Todd doesn't get my powers. Todd is just Todd. Bruce coming back Bruce coming back doesn't make sense. And Kevin is like, well, Bruce was going to tell everybody where he was. She's like, he's like, but he had to explain. She's like, save it for the movie. So we get the nod.
Which is meta.
Right.
We getting a Hulk movie?
I think we are. I feel like at this point, they're saying it. It's officially canonized in the show.
Well, we had legal issues that said we didn't have the property of the Hulk, but now we've come to an arrangement with Universal?
Maybe so.
Will we get World War Hulk? Are we going back to Sakaar for some reason, and we'll see a father and son? You know me, I get ahead. So let me focus on what's going on. So you take Bruce out.
Right, take Bruce out.
Take Titania out.
Well, they didn't take Titania out, which is one thing that I was upset about. We didn't take Titania out because even when we got back into the show, Titania was still there. She was recording all the intelligentsia getting arrested, which I did like, because that didn't make sense. There was still no reason for her to be there. But she also wanted...
So are they friends now?
No, absolutely not.
Well, you should have just took her out then.
You really should. You really should.
Again, well, you got to explain, how did she know that they were there?
And which they didn't.
This is where they start to unravel. You see, when He Who Remains died,
he fucked it all
this to happen.
All of it doesn't make sense no more. But
that's my grievance. That's my gripe. It started to unravel.
That was my biggest issue with the show. It was the ending of the episode where I understood where they were going with the meta commentary of basically saying that, every show doesn't have to be ending this big fight. Like Moon Knight, perfect example. All of a sudden we got this big kaiju fight between Ahmed and Khonshu. It's like there was nothing in the entire show that show that Khonshu can grow the size of a skyscraper. Not even a skyscraper. It's taller than a skyscraper.
Bigger than the pyramid.
Right, bigger than the pyramids. There was nothing in the show that mentioned that this was even a possibility, and all of a sudden we got these two gods. And it's like there was really no reason for them to be that big to fight. They could have, they fought inside like the little temple council area, and they were like normal size. So why did they have to go straight up Power Rangers, make my monster grow, and just be the size of a fucking Megazord?
It was a flex. And here's the thing about it. Nobody said that Khonshu was going to get his ass kicked either. I thought you was a goddamn moon god. It was a full moon. You was still getting your ass kicked. Goddamn.
Ahmed was
out there eating souls, whooping that ass at the same time. And you like, I need my fist of justice, fist of vengeance, fist of shut up. You're just getting your ass kicked. You could have stayed home for that.
But and it's the same thing. We got this fight with I don't even remember the fucking kid's name at the end of Miss Marvel. Caleb, Kevin, Khaled, something. Yeah. I don't remember the name. But they had they had their fight at the end, and it's like, we don't need that. Just every single show has to end in a big fight. And so there's the absolutely justifiable meta commentary on that. But in doing that, bringing leaving Titania in, bringing Matt Murdock back, which even, you know, they're talking about bringing him back, but even when Jen gets back into her universe, her world, her show, Matt jumps in again. Matt dropped in from the sky the same way Bruce dropped in from the sky out of nowhere. He's like, I'm here to help. Go ahead
and get you this love interest.
Right. And it's like, I'm here to help. And it's like, well, it's already over and done with. Like, literally no reason for him to be there. So it's like, She-Hulk, I appreciate what you were doing. I appreciate the message that you were trying to get across. You were there. You were there, and you just started throwing some extra stuff. Yeah, you started throwing some extra stuff in there, and it really didn't make any sense.
I would have rather them have left open plot holes and just knowing that we would have addressed it in season 2.
Right, because in the conversation with Jen and Kevin, we established that we're getting to season 2. Jen does the not after they fix her final episode. I like Jen just kind of like sits down on the floor cross-legged, and Kevin's like, why are you sitting down? It's like, I thought we were done. Why are you still here? Why are you getting comfortable? And so she starts going into like all of the MCU and starts asking all kind of questions. One particularly is of which, when are we getting X-Men? So it's like,
and Kevin said, I can't tell you that.
I can't tell you that. And so again, the show, the writers, they know, they have been on the pulse of the MCU fandom for this entire show. They know the complaints that people have, but they also know what people want to see. And I think they probably express that they know what people want to see more than anything. And one of the things, and it was like sort of a subtle nod, that we talked about removing Hulk from that final fight scene because Kevin said, you know, Hulk was going to come back. He was going to talk about where he had been. He was like, oh, because he was going to explain, you know, he was going to introduce, and Jen was like, nah, save it for the movie. Kevin removed him from the scene, but when he was saying that, Kevin said recalculating. He didn't say he was going to completely, you know, move away from what Bruce was going to say. He just adjusted it to where now it wasn't a part of that final fight scene, but they still, you know, they still put it in the show. So we see that they make it seem like Jen was sort of in control of her own story in that sense. But then it goes to show you that even though Jen was basically speaking on behalf of the people in a sense, like, we don't need this, we don't need that, we don't need this. And Kevin is still MCU as a whole. So it goes to show that, right. even though that we say this is what we want, this is what we want, there's like, okay, well, we hear you, we're going to give it to you, but at the end of the day, we still run this. We're going to put in what we want to put in so we can make sure that we're pushing our story forward.
And you're interesting about it because Kevin made a statement to Jen. Some shows are accepted and some are not. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but in a nutshell, he's like, some shows do better than others. And he's okay with that. Mm-hmm. So if Moon Knight sucks, you blame Kevin for it, okay? Don't you bring it out over here. Don't you bring it over here at all. No, Oscar killed this role. He killed this role. It just, I mean, it's just, you got these writers, man. You just got to get a clear direction of what, and I know it's hard because you want to stay true to the comics, because if you don't, the fandom will eat you alive. It's like, that's not how it goes in the comics, and it's lame. But if you deviate and try to tell something more original, they lose their mind.
Right.
But you have to find that clear, thin balance to adapt the comics and adapt something new. And I think they did this in this show. It was a blood transfusion, not in the same way of the comics, but I don't think anyone was like, he's supposed to get shot by a mobster. And I think they understood and it kept going. So like you said, the writers know what they're doing, but at the same time, I understand what they did. I just wish they didn't do it.
and in the same sense, I understand what they did. I just wish that it was a little bit cleaner, because they had the right idea. I feel like they had the right idea and where they were going with it. But I feel like if you take that much care to cherry pick what you want to include in your final scene of your season finale, you gotta be able to clean up those plot holes. There's no reason, right? You have to stick to landing. There's no reason for there to be unanswered questions, like, because there's
because we didn't address anything. She just screw you, Kevin, and she left and going back to her own show. Well, which Kevin said
she said screw you, Kevin, because he didn't give her a movie.
Well, I think, again, like you said, he recalculated. He said, I'll see you on the big screen. There's no way.
She was like, really? I'm getting a movie? He was like, no.
I don't think there's no way we don't see She-Hulk on the big screen, whether it's in between season 1 and 2 or after season 2.
No, I absolutely agree. She's going to, whenever, like you said, whether it's in between 1 and 2 or after season 2, I would probably venture to guess that, like we've been talking about before, somewhere within Secret Wars, the Kang Dynasty. Yeah, they're going to bring a whole bunch of people in.
Fantastic Four. She was in Fantastic Four in the comics quite a bit.
Yeah, I don't know. It depends on
not introducing the Fantastic Four. They have to get introduced first and established.
Right.
Maybe after the third one, when we start to cycle in characters,
right? Because at some point maybe we have like the relationship between Peter Parker and Johnny Storm, because they're friends in the comic books. There's so many, like you said, based on the comic books, the comics are so intertwined that there are literally an infinite number of storylines for the MCU to choose from. And
it's almost like a multiverse.
It's almost like a multiverse. It's crazy. Like but like you said, it's you can't create these properties with these characters and stay completely true to the comics, because telling these stories, you have comics that were introduced way before some other characters have been established. Like, if I remember correctly, She-Hulk was a comic book character way before Shang-Chi was. But Shang-Chi had a movie before She-Hulk had a show. So, not to say that those two necessarily have interconnecting storylines, but you have characters who are part of other comic books who don't have a property yet in the MCU. They haven't been introduced yet. And then also, we're dealing with the X-Men issue with everything on the 20th Century Fox and Deadpool and Sony and all of the Spider-Man characters and Universal and the Hulk and Fantastic Four as part of Fox. And, so we still have all of the stuff that we have to work on introducing. So they have to take care in how they introduce. And like we said before, Kevin Feige, all of the showrunners, all of the big wigs over at Marvel Studios, they have a plan. We don't know what that plan is. We can theorize, hypothesize, we can come up with guesses, however we want to, and what we think
we can
should
have
happen.
Just a juicy general conversation like we do on this show.
That too. But we can theorize all the live long day about where we want the future of the MCU to go. But at the end of the day, like I said, just as Kevin did, they're calling the shots. They're going to make the show that they want to make. And regardless of, whether we criticize it, whether we hate on it, whether we say it's super, or whether we say it's not super, they're going to... Look, I gotta integrate us in there some kind of way.
Yeah, we are part of this.
We are a part of this.
We're a part of the fandom. Thank you, Kevin.
But people at the end of the day are going to consume it. Love it or hate it, they're going to consume it. And not to say that the Marvel Studio is specifically or purposefully trying to make bad content, or trying to make things that are going to upset people, or trying to make things that people are not going to like, because I think they want all of their properties to be very well received. But, at the end of the day, people like what they want to like. And She-Hulk is a very accurate depiction of that, because you have a very, vocal sect of people who are very against the show. They hate it. They've been hating it from the first episode. And then you have commenters.
At least they're consistent.
At least they are consistent. It's like no matter what they do, they've been hating on the show. They never change it too. But then you have, it's like you have, I feel like you have the people who hate on, whether it's Marvel or DC, but you have those people that are going to hate on it regardless of what the company does. And then you have the people who are going to actually look at it with a critical eye. And they'll say, I like this, I didn't like it. And I feel like we fall under that latter section where we're going to say whether we don't like something. We're not going to just say it's trash just for the sake of calling it trash, but we give specific reasons. It's trash. We give specific reasons as to why we don't like it. And so, like I said, this episode in particular, I enjoyed it. I really like the way that the show's going. It's a very fun show, and it was completely different than all the other stuff that we've gotten in the MCU as far as Disney Plus shows so far. It's very refreshing to have that different type of storyline. But like I said, if you're taking this stance on we're going to basically cherry pick what it is that we want in our final episode to make sure that our hero character is dealing with her stakes, you gotta clean up those, because it's like at this point, was Matt Murdock just there because Jen wanted Matt Murdock there? And she had the comment when we're talking with Kevin. She said that's what Hulks do. We smash scenes. And she was like, and occasionally Matt Murdock did that little Megan Thee Stallion thing. But it's like, so and like we said, it's her having sort of control. Like you said, in the comic book, she's arguing with the creator. She's arguing with the editors. Like, I don't like the way my story is going. I don't like what you're doing. You need to change it, and this is what I want. And so she has that power. She's able to just pull Matt Murdock in just for no other reason that she wanted Matt to come back. But
Hulk smash.
But in the same vein, like we said with Titania, there was no reason for Titania to be there. There was no way that Titania would have known where she was. And even if it was the next morning and all of Intelligentsia is getting arrested and all this other kind of stuff, I don't think that there would be any justification for Titania to go all the way out there, because we've established that this is a long drive outside of LA or Burbank or wherever, the central location of the show is taking place. There's no reason for Titania to go all the way out there just to record, what's going on. And also, Jen's plea bargain or plea deal was contingent upon the fact that she would not transform into She-Hulk.
magically went away.
She broke the inhibitor, transformed into She-Hulk. Blonsky got arrested for violating his parole. Jen should have been arrested too.
It's not his show, but that's we know whose show it is. But right. That you're absolutely right. That's a plot line that we just left lying there on the floor like a steaming pile of turd. Todd
Big green turd. Big green turd.
Daggone lame-o. Anyway, so we don't have that answer, but I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna go ahead and bring it to the Hulk situation that he pops up at the end and introduces Scar, his son from Sakaar. In MCU pulled in. What's going on with Scar? Why has he got this look on his face like he buried a squirrel? Or
he buried a squirrel.
I mean, he has this look of shame on his face.
I couldn't tell if it was a look of shame or a look of I don't want to be here. Like, because
with that haircut, I wouldn't want to be anywhere. Just oh my god, he looked like a monk. There's a monk haircut.
Yeah. And so I don't know. I don't know what the motivation behind that look was. If it was,
oh, you're talking about in the face. I thought just talking about the haircut.
No, and I don't think anybody's following that trend.
Monks do.
I think even monks be like, I don't know about that. It's just
my God.
But if it's a sense of, if it's a sense of guilt, if he's feeling guilty about something, or if he's like mad because we know for the people who are familiar with the Son of Hulk comic line, Scar was left on Sakaar because his mother died, and Hulk didn't know that she, because she protected Scar in a cocoon and left him on the planet while she died. And so Hulk didn't know this, and he left, and he basically abandoned his son. And so Scar grew up, goes back, ends up coming to Earth. But is it a sense of, whatever reason that Hulk has brought him back to Earth, he's like, I don't want to be here. I don't like you. You left me, so I don't want anything to do with you. And now you're introducing me to your family like we're supposed to be like, happy-go-lucky father and son. Family. They didn't say grace.
You saw it first.
So Toretto will be very upset. But yeah, so I that's what I was kind of leaning towards, that it was a sense of he didn't want to be there because he didn't, I don't think he really likes Bruce because he left him and he abandoned him. So I think that might have been what it was.
Maybe. The missus said something that I thought was very interesting. We see Jennifer Walters struggle through this whole show. We actually foreshadowed Scar coming when we were talking about Captain America and Captain America, right?
Smashing.
Captain America smash. Smashing. Captain America smash with a vibranium shield. That's cheesy as hell, right? So I think we were alluding to this. So right. It wasn't a shocker when he showed up, Scar, when he showed up on screen. In fact, once the Sakarian ship came, I knew it was only a matter of time before we saw Scar anyway. I thought we would have gone back to Sakaar, maybe got a little World Breaker Hulk storyline a little more. But we had already adapted that to Thor Ragnarok, so I didn't think they were going to double down twice.
Right.
Big mystery question, who Scar's mom is, because let's just be honest, he's a superhuman enhanced individual. Whether a baby or whether full grown, somebody had to lay an egg. In the comics, it was an egg. And he emerged from the egg. But somebody had to be strong enough to deliver a superhuman child. Put that on the back burner for a second. The missus said she didn't like the fact that Jen, struggling with dating all through the show, got with a guy that was She-Hulk, got with a guy that just like Jen. Then Jen got with a guy that's blind. Like, there's nothing wrong with this lady, okay? Why does she have to settle for somebody that can't see her face? Yes, he has echolocation. Yes, he can see the outside. And she is not an unattractive woman. What is going on with this storyline? Like, she can't get any good guys. She can only get lamos and creeps and guys that want her blood. And because they said, Jen is not the first guy that likes She-Hulk. He said Jen was not his type.
Right.
And then you got Josh, but Josh was there under false pretenses.
Right. And
now you're telling me the only guy that she can have a connection with is a guy that's blind. This woman is not unattractive. What is going on?
And you make a very valid point.
All of New York, they're in LA. All of LA? Really? She's a lawyer.
Yeah.
She checks all the boxes. She don't seem like she's super annoying. She cuts to the chase. If the chase is where you're trying to cut to. She drinks. She hangs out. She's one of the guys. When she's She-Hulk, she can lift 6 tons. So yeah, she's one of the guys. The girl. Intelligent. Attractive, but you're telling me out of all heroes, the only one that's interested in her is the one that can't see her face.
Well, I don't think that's the only one that's interested in her, but I think for the sake of...
you think Pug's about to make a move? Pug's going to make a move?
No, I think Pug is too respectful for that. I don't think Pug will want to try to date a coworker. Well, yeah. But even in that sense, if Pug were to make a move into the show, because of course Matt Murdock is going to go back to Hell's Kitchen and is going to be gone. So if there was a potential storyline where Pug, made a move on Jen, I feel like that would be another very respectable guy who's interested in Jen, who's interested, who's not going to shy away from her because she's She-Hulk, but he's also not going to shy away from her because she's a powerful attorney.
Are we rooting for Pug and She-Hulk to get together?
I wouldn't mind it.
Clearly, you forgot the conversation that we've had.
Which conversation?
Pug is collateral damage. He cannot be with an enhanced She-Hulk. It's you of all people know, Spider. Mary Jane.
Listen.
Gwen Stacy. Aunt May.
Look, sometimes it works.
Harry Oswald before he gave him the Green Goblin.
Sometimes it works.
Never works out.
Sometimes it works.
The Goblin came to Aunt May's house and snatched her, kidnapped her, made her finish her prayer. Then turned around in the MCU and killed her.
Yeah.
It doesn't work out. And unless you're Ned to have magic fingers, I feel bad for MJ. Which is the reason why Spider-Man didn't mess with MJ when he got back from New York.
Because he knew
with Statue of Liberty.
Trying to keep it safe. But, and of course, who knows what season 2 is going to hold. But the last thing I want to talk about before we sort of wrap everything up, we have the post-credit scene, of course. Goddamn Wongers coming back, breaking Blonsky out of DODC for the second time.
And clearly Blonsky is not coming back.
No, he's not coming back.
First time. No. He took his Crocs with him. And the next one, Now, does Blonsky have some type of communication with Wong? Is he talking through haikus in the air? Because
I don't know.
The first thing he said when he saw Wong was, "It took you long enough." As in, I was sitting here waiting for you.
Didn't he say something about, or ask him?
You were watching one of their shows.
No, he said, "Did you get pulled into another show?" Now it could have been.
We're on Wong alert. We're on Wong watch.
It could have been in the sense. It could have been in the sense of, oh, did you get pulled into another show? Like, oh, are you binging something on Netflix because somebody pulled you into another show, or did you get pulled into another MCU show? I took it as, did you get pulled into another MCU show?
I thought he was actually talking about another series, like This Is Us or The Sopranos or something like that. But he may be in somewhere else, another show. I mean, he got portal technology, so he can easily pop up anywhere. Yeah, but now that he's a fugitive, which I alluded to earlier, because he's breaking criminals out of
maximum security detention facility.
Is this what we expected of our heroes now? Because don't get it twisted, Wong's an Avenger. He was right there, like you said when Cap said Avengers. I don't know why you whispered the symbol part, but you know, that's what the captain does. But he was right there, bringing in the portals. You wanted more? Clearly, we do. We get Secret Wars. I can't imagine all the people that's going to be on the screen for that one epic shot. But I'm here for it. Why is Wong breaking guys out of jail?
Don't know.
Is Wong a Skrull? The question is, I'm going to ask this. Are we going from Skrulls to Super Skrull? Skrulls can mimic all the facial... Are you doing jazz hands?
I'm doing spirit fingers. fingers. You did
so
the
jazz hands, I'm doing
spirit fingers.
The Skrulls can mimic everything. The Super Skrulls can mimic everything, including the powers.
Right.
So, the powers that Wong is actually possessing is a sling ring, which you don't have to be enhanced. You just have to be somewhat magical, as we've seen with Ned.
Right.
He had magic in his bloodline, and he was able to open portals to different dimensions, not just to teleport or to get from here to there. He opened it up in the Sony dimension and brought in Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield.
Well, he didn't open up to the Sony dimension. They got pulled in our dimension. But he did open it up and got, because we're Doctor Strange and Spider-Man in the mirror dimension, because they were still in the mirror dimension when they were fighting, right?
Yes.
And so he was able to open the portal.
Because Spider-Man left.
Yeah, because Spider-Man left. So he was able to open the portal to but Ned was able to open the portal to the mirror, to the mirror dimension, and got Doctor Strange out. So it's not that he not to say that you're wrong in saying that he can open portals to other dimensions. It's just that it wasn't the Sony dimension. It was, they were already here. But he did open a portal to the mirror dimension and brought Doctor Strange back when they were on the Statue of Liberty.
Well, let's be honest. Thank God for that, because if anything else comes from that Sony dimension, it's going to be horrifying.
They're going to bring Morbius over to us.
The bad. Don't do it.
Dr. Morbius. Spider-Man.
Why are you sounding like that?
The man in the vulture costume told me to look for him.
Oh my goodness! Listen, are we going to get a Sinister Six in the MCU, or is that going to be a Sony property?
I don't know, but nah.
Where are we going to see?
That's a conversation for
another day. Where are we going to see She-Hulk next, besides season 2?
Besides season 2, like we said, I think it's Avengers.
Daredevil born again. Yeah, are they a couple now? Because they look real couple-ish.
They do look real couple-ish, but I think they're just having fun. I don't think they're an official couple. I don't think they're dating.
We did say this. We said She-Hulk gets it on in the comics. She is not a strings attached type of superhero. Mm-hmm. You know, come with your A game. You're just another notch on the headboard. She's not holding back. She's grown. She's gonna do what grown women do, and then she gonna move on. What you gonna do? You can't do nothing. She's She-Hulk. She's indestructible. And here's the thing. Let's talk about continuity for a second, right?
Okay.
We clearly established in the Avengers, you can't kill a Hulk. Bruce tried. He tried. On the Marvel Cutaways show, the scene that they cut, Bruce was in the Alps. or in the mountains. He got low. He just referenced it in the Avengers, but there is footage out there. He got low. He took a gun, put it in his mouth, and tried to kill himself. Hulk spit the bullet out. So even in regular human form, you're not going to get blood out of Hulk, Bruce. So Hulks at all. I really find it hard to believe that they had the blood. So, but I guess it doesn't even matter now at this point since we retconned that whole part of the story. So that didn't happen. Todd's arrested.
Yeah.
Turd's arrested. But if we took that part of the story out, what is he arrested for? For the hate crime of shaming She-Hulk? Is that what we're going with?
Cyber.
This is what was terrorism.
Yeah.
So this is what I'm saying. Like we're messy. We need to clean up these storylines. Same thing that you just said. Agreed. And for your finale, you just don't want to leave a pile of mess unless it's the first thing you're going to address in season 2.
Right.
I will say this though. When Kevin said to Jen Walters that you're going back to your show, that anomaly, that glitch has been fixed. There's talk of rhetoric on the MCU about, on the internet, I should say, sorry, about the MCU being a simulation. And that he who remains, or Kang, is behind the artificial Kevin. It did give me Timekeeper vibes, as in the man behind the curtains.
What did they call them? The
Timekeepers?
No, were they the Timekeepers? The three that was sitting on like the big chairs.
If you know what the name of them was, leave it in the comments. But I thought it was the Timekeepers.
Yeah, I don't want to say Time Lords because Time Lords are Doctor Who.
Yeah, I don't think they're Time Lords, but I think they're Timekeepers. Anyway, the point of what I'm saying is a lot of the equipment looked like the dated equipment from the TVA. So I'm not saying that he is, and I'm not saying that they aren't. I'm saying it is coincidental. Remember, this is the MCU. There's nothing done accidentally. All these Easter eggs and clues are to say, hey, remember when you watched She-Hulk and you seen Kevin? He was really controlled by He Who Remains, or one of the variants of Kang, because he's trying to control the multiverse. Interesting theory. We're just throwing it out there. We'll see if it sticks. But it is interesting how he says that the glitch has been fixed and she had not broke the fourth wall when she came back. So she didn't address the audience at all.
Do we think that in season 2 we're not going to get any fourth wall breaking?
It all depends on what goes on outside of She-Hulk.
So if...
It's like you just said. It's like recalculating. We didn't change anything. We just adjusted it and still gave you what I wanted to give you, which was Scar, and seeing that Hulk had went to Sakaar, and seeing that this is the storyline you're going to get. So but she didn't address the.
She didn't address the audience in the last part of the show
at all.
And so here's my theory, and then we can wrap the episode up. So.
I'm gonna drink this juice.
Any appearance that we have in She-Hulk between now and her next season would be in other people's properties, right?
That's what OPP is.
But so if she shows up in anybody else's show or movie, she wouldn't really have the freedom to break the fourth wall because it wouldn't fit in the continuity of whoever's show or movie that she's in.
Exactly.
We go through Avengers Secret Wars. Right. We go through Avengers Secret Wars. We go through Avengers Kang Dynasty. Hopefully, at some point, we're able to defeat Kang, restore everything to the way it was.
And then she breaks the fourth wall
season
again.
2. She can go back into breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah, because right now we have no idea when season 2 is dropping. We know it's coming.
Yeah,
but it actually has not been officially announced by Disney.
Right.
Plus. but we know it's coming because they referenced it in the show.
Right.
Interesting.
That's a very, very interesting theory. But
see what happens when you stay on the whole show? We give you the good stuff at the end. Jazz hands.
When it comes to not y'all. You know, the lamos know who we're talking about.
The lamos know who we're talking about.
When it comes to She-Hulk Attorney at Law, Mr. VIP Frankie Washington, we're talking about the show as a whole.
Oh, you can talk about this episode. As a whole.
Well, I mean, yeah. Well, we've been referencing. We've been talking about going back to episode 1 and all this other kind of stuff. But the show as a whole, because this is the season finale, so let's talk about the season. Season 1 of She-Hulk Attorney at Law. Is it super? Has it been super? Was it super?
Let me just go ahead and pull this microphone close so you guys can hear me. Listen, yes, it's super. The show's super. It is super. Even the last episode is super. Because I understand what they're doing, though I may not agree with it. It's the direction that they decided to go into, and I can respect it because it's not the same as everything else that you're seeing on the MCU. But just, for me, the rewatchable factor is what takes a hit. That's all that you lost because some of the continuity is just all over the place, and not only like X-Men or X-Men vs. Fox or X-Force or Wakanda Forever. It's right over left. Pay attention.
X is the exhibit.
Yeah, throw them in there. You're right. But they decided to go in a direction that was not traditionally gone after. And we can't be mad that we got what we asked for. I mean, you and I talk about this many times. Don't do the formulaic, repetitive ending over and over and over again. And they took a swing. Did they knock it out the park? No, not for me. Maybe for you, and that's okay. And if it didn't for me, that's okay too. But I think they got a hit, and I think they got I put it like this. They won the game. I'll even say it's a home run, but it's not a home run that went over the wall. Does that make sense?
An infield home run?
An infield, like somebody bockled it. But we still won, right? It's like I had it, but it hit my glove, and I didn't catch it, and you ran around the base. I still picked it up, and I threw it. I just didn't.
And then you overthrew it, and then
I bockled it again.
Right.
And then
She-Hulk made it around home.
And then a turd came, but now we took the turd out. And then lamos were in the crowd. You should watch She-Hulk. If anybody is watching us and not watching She-Hulk, I don't know how that dynamic works, but thank you. Go ahead and watch it. It's worth watching. It's different. It's funny. It's good. It's a good show. And even though I don't agree necessarily about how they stuck the landing, I don't blame them for that. I blame the artificial robot known as Kevin. Whatever his acronym is, it's his fault. Because if they would have gave these talented writers more time, more screen, more shows, more episodes, I think we would have been able to have
out season.
Fully flushed out season. And we've said that many a times on this. It's just too much going on to have an abrupt stop. Like, is that what the plus is for in Disney? To have abrupt stops? Just Disney? Just cut it out. Cut it out right now. You cut it out. And that's what we got. Spider? What say you for She-Hulk season on Disney? I just wanted a louder, but is it super? Or is it super?
I don't know what the difference between those two are, but no, absolutely. She-Hulk Attorney at Law has been super for the entire season. Last week, I said that one of my biggest worries was sticking the landing. But my comparison was, at least for us here at All Things Super, we have not gotten a show since we've been doing the podcast. We haven't gotten a show where we've been high on not high.
Whoa, hey, what is going on? What
we've been positive on all of the episodes. We've had super episodes throughout the entire season, and then had the show not be super for the last episode. She-Hulk has been super throughout the entire season. She-Hulk ended their last episode of this first season, super episode. Was it perfect? No. Did I think that, like Mr. VIP Frankie Washington said, I respect the choice that they went with, because yes, it was different. It was not that same formulaic ending. They said they it's like they gave it to us. It was like, you've been eating this for 10 plus years at this point. It's like, is this what you still want? Because we begin spoon-fed these big climactic action scenes at the end of these Marvel properties, and it's like, you've been eating this since 2008. Every single property, big fight scene, big fight scene, big fight scene. It's like,
even Daredevil made fun of it. Big CGI fight scene coming up.
And so it's like, after all this time, is this still what you want? We can give you something different. But it's like, I think that the message is that the fandom has been so indoctrinated to a point to where we think that because this is all that we've gotten, then this is all that we can get. And She-Hulk has opened our eyes to see that we can have something different. And it's not going to always be bad. You know, there can be some good things for future MCU properties to show that we can have an ending that doesn't have to always result in something that's world breaking, something that's state breaking, some kind of twist. You know, we can have something different. We can have lower stakes. We can have no stakes. We can have a well-written show that, because this was a sitcom. You look at any, of course, it's a superhero sitcom, but for the most part, you don't have a sitcom in their season, and it's this big, fight scene. It's like, you take well, not necessarily like this is a sitcom, but you take any CSI season, right? It goes through these weekly episodic, it's an episodic show. So every week is a different case. Sometimes they have cameos, sometimes they have guest stars, but at the end of the episode, they solve a case.
Law and Order does that too.
Right. Sometimes you might have a two-parter, right? But even still, you may have like a 3-episode, 4-episode story arc that kind of carries characters through. They might have some unresolved conflicts, but at the end of a season, it's just the end of a season. The season finale, there may be like a 2-part season finale where there is a conflict that is encapsulated into those 2 episodes. But once that's over, boom, that's the end of the season. We'll be back next season. It'll be some different shit. So we can have shows in the MCU that can just be episodic, different case every week. We have people that show in. We had Madison. We had Donnie Blaze. We have Titania. We have Wong.
Will we see these characters again in season 2?
It's possible we could, but I feel like even if we didn't, it wouldn't be taken away from the show. It's okay because they're not like.
Well, I know they better put Meg Thee Stallion back in there because she's a client. She's a client now, and she's in the MCU, and we want to see more of that. Body, yada, 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 yada.
Yeah, but these characters are not like foundation pillars that the show is hinged upon. To where if we take them out, that the show is going to fall apart.
Listen, She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, Disney Plus. Watch it, rewatch it, come back, put comments underneath our comment section, and let us know what you think. Is it super? Goddamn right it is. Understand why you would say anything different. If you feel like you want to say something different, we're more than welcome to have that conversation in the comments because we love reading comments. So bring it. All of it.
But if you like the episode, go ahead, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you can be notified when we have new episodes that come out. Again, if you want the audio version of the podcast, which, not to be biased, but I do feel like the video version is a little bit better. But, you know,
you can see awesome merch. Look at our cool shirt.
You can see the awesome merch. Check it out over that way.
I'm somewhere this way.
Yeah, you know, it's all backwards. It's a mirrorverse. But if you do want the audio version, you can find us on all your major podcast streaming services. Just search for All Things Super. And if you want to join in on the conversation, like we said, leave those comments because we love reading the comments. But you can also tweet at us at ATSuperPod.
Hey man, I'm ready for season 2 already.
I'm looking forward to it.
It's a good show.
God damn it. I need more Tatiana Maslany in my life. The woman is phenomenal.
Well, first of all, you're not blind, so it's not going to work out for you.
Listen.
Okay. She's clearly into blind guys.
She's into more than just blind guys.
But are those guys into her?
That's on them. That's not on me. That's on them. That's their problem.
He made breakfast, man. That's a win.
Make breakfast. That is a huge win. It's like, are you that much of an asshole that you leave? Like, she makes breakfast for you. It's like, ooh, you know what? I'm gonna just leave. But you know what?
I'm gonna go.
But you know what? I'm glad that Jen didn't have to sit through that awkward scenario of him, him taking advantage of her making breakfast and then leaving.
Eating bacon? Was there bacon?
I don't remember which. I don't remember which.
He probably left because they didn't have bacon.
I know there was fresh squeezed orange juice. That takes a lot of goddamn effort to make fresh squeezed orange juice.
Not if she was She-Hulk. It was more like this.
That's true. Like that. Yeah, you're right. Because who did that? That was God damn it. Was that Hellboy? Somebody just took like a bag of oranges and just like squeezed the whole damn thing. I don't know. I got a lot of characters in my brain. Somebody did that. But regardless, we're excited for She-Hulk. It's a great show. Like Mr. VIP Freak One just said, go watch it if you haven't watched it. Go rewatch it if you already watched it. But we are looking forward to season 2 whenever that may have come out. But we hope that you'll be looking forward to our next episode of All Things Super. But until then, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.